Today I return to Go a Viking. That's right. We're going to talk about history television show Vikings. Now, Vikings has concluded its first season. First season, 9 episodes, and the opening theme is "If I Had a Heart" by Peter Ray. The opening sequence is excellent. The show, when it first starts in episode 1, they're talking in Old Norse or maybe Icelandic or whatever. I think it's about the same language. And I was like, oh God, it's going to be a show about subtitles with subtitles. And I hate subtitle stuff. I just hate it. I hate it. I know. I'm a cretin. But that's not something I would have been into. But then they drop it. They're just like, show you, okay, this is how they talk. Now, boom, here's the English for you. As far as I can tell here, the show appears to be filmed in Canada and Ireland. The acting in the show is strong. Not the best acting show I've ever seen, but it's strong. You know, you obviously put it up against anything that's a network show. Not a big fan of ABC, NBC, or CBS. And in fact, I don't really watch their shows at all anymore. They're just terrible. But this one is surprisingly high production value. So having been on the History Channel, I would have thought, it's not going to be too much. I know it came out about the same time as the Bible or whatever that show was called. And that one got enormous views. I haven't seen that show. Maybe I'll watch it, maybe I won't, I don't know. But Vikings I liked a lot. Vikings was renewed for a 10-episode second season, so it's going to be one more episode than the first. Even 10 episodes, I would like to see 12, 13, or quite honestly more. I thought the show was very good. Of course, it's an hour long, which means commercials and so forth. You're getting about 42 minutes, 43 minutes of actual show, including the what happened before and the opening sequence. Again, they do have a good opening sequence. They kind of subtly weave mysticism and the gods and so forth like that into the background. They bring up a lot of great historical culture, particularly theological, talking about Heimdall and Odin and Thor and the Ragnarok and these Yggdrasil, these aspects of Norse mythology that were, to me, very interesting. I think to the casual viewer, they probably went out in one ear and out the other. But as someone who has an interest in religion, I found that to be of interest the way that they portrayed it. It seems to be very well researched and very well done. I'm sure someone's going to go, oh, well, they got this or that wrong. But, I mean, come on. They did a great job. If you compare this to some of the other shows you're going to see out there with the executive producing and the poor level of research that many shows put in, I thought they did a job here that really pleased me in that regard. A lot of the characters do really strong facials too. I mean, there's some strong acting on this show. I don't know how well it did ratings wise. I hope it did well. I know the Bible show did well. I want to see History Channel put out more original shows, and I don't mean Pawn Stars and 1,000 extra reality shows spun off it. Like, just stop. They don't need another American Pickers and Counting Cars and God knows it. Stop. Make shows like this. This is what I want to see. I want to see acting. I want to see writing. I want to see scripts and compelling stories and drama. And it hits it, man. It hits it all right there. There's some strong violence, and the boats, the tools that they use are great. And they do things. They don't seem to modern contextualize things too much. So there is a little bit of it I could pick up, but sometimes they heavily handed hit the modern stuff in there. There's a bit of it, particularly I thought with how they handled the slave that he took. When he took the guy's slave, but which I thought was kind of a good angle to see. Okay, this is how he learned to speak, English. So that comes up later. The character playing. Well, let me start when I say him. We're talking about Ragnar Lodbrok, and just great. He gets this idea to sail west. They'd always gone east. They're always invading into Russia and raiding. That's what Vikings are. Vikings were pirates. They were raiders. They ran up in their longboats and they just sacked that village and took those riches. That's what they did. But he gets the idea, let's go the other direction. And they act like it's madness. And he finds Northumbria. They find and they raid and they sack and they bring back the treasures. But then the chieftain claims it as his. And eventually we build an angle with Ragnar Lodbrok against the chieftain. And they fight a one-on-one combat, and the chieftain is defeated. I see the chieftain do all kinds of horrible things. He kills like a boy to bury him with his treasure, so that it's protected. And there's things that you're like, oh God, really? You're ridiculous, man. You don't do that to some kid. But I mean, he did. He didn't care. So it was, it was pretty intense. Some of the things that they put together there. The Floki, it's like Loki with an F on it. Floki is like a friend. He's like this crazy guy that lives out in the woods, but he's a friend of Ragnar. So you can see his station rise as Ragnar becomes the chieftain of the village. And Floki is the shipbuilder, and he gives Ragnar the help to get the ship put together. And we see again Travis Fimmel. He plays Ragnar, and he does a good job. He's good facials. He's a good character. And generally, the main characters, a lot of times, I don't really like them too much, to be honest. Even his son, who is Nathan O'Toole. Well, I don't need to look up that O'Toole. He's clearly Irish. Bjorn, he does a good job. Typically, child actors I don't care for, to be honest, but he does a good job on the show. So I did enjoy him. Rollo, who plays Ragnar's brother, is good because he's so jealous. He's so jealous of Ragnar, and we see that going the whole way. Then he ends up taking the chieftain's wife, and he gets with her, and she starts whispering all the poison into his ears because she's trying to solidify her position. And now when they leave off for the cliffhanger for season 2, and it's one of those times where, like, if they didn't give you season 2, I hate when they hit a cliffhanger and then they never come back. Oh, that's so infuriating. Oh, what's going to happen? Oh, nothing will ever happen. Wonderful, thank you. But they will bring it back. And it's going to be brother against brother on opposite sides, or maybe the brother will, he'll actually like come back with a brother. I don't know how they're gonna work it, but it's pretty cool. To see what happens with King Horik and with Rollo. George Bagden as he's playing the Anglo-Saxon monk that's captured by Ragnar on the first raid. And at the first he's still trying to like keep his head shaved, but then you can slowly see all those things just sort of come away from him. Ragnar tries to bring him into the bed so he can have sex with his wife, and he won't do that. But like he slowly like starts succumbing to what's going on. He begins to learn the ways of the pagans, and they're like really. It's interesting because how much the characters are with the gods. Like Floki is like straight up like he is with those Norse gods. Those are very, very important. He is a religious man, and then they have like this blinded, like prophet oracle type guy. That's like something straight out of a Marilyn Manson video. Who's that priest? So these people, they look down on the priest. They just trust him. They don't care for him. For worshiping, this nailed God. But it's very interesting to see how that character changes. He has a lot of dynamic development in the story. Quite honestly, is one of the better characters there. You can see there's a lot of tension between him and Bjorn, and it gives Bjorn, the child actor, a lot to do because like he gets mad about the slave being placed over him, and he has this animosity towards him, like he's trying to prove his manhood. And in season 2, you'll probably see Bjorn doing more, getting more, because he's going to be older and older. So it'll be interesting to see. And we see how Ragnar ends up taking like a lover. I have the name in front of me, but I'm going to butcher it. Slog, yeah, that can't possibly be right, could it? Played by Alicia Sutherland, who is supposed to be a princess, and Brunhilde's daughter, of course, a really famous name from Norse history, Brunhilde. And, of course, his wife is Lagrith, and his son catches him having sex with this woman, and he's mad about it. Like, they get into it, and then he kind of gets his son to kind of forgive him, but he promises his son he'll never do anything else with her, but, you know how that goes. So, overall, the presentation of it, the way that they went to Northumbria and they dealt with the king, the way that their shield formation is everything in the show. I love the way the water looks. They're coming through. I can't really find any knock on it. I don't know if I mentioned it. The guy that plays Floki is the brother of Alexander Skarsgård, the guy that plays Eric Northman on True Blood, and is in quite a few movies now. So it's a pretty talented family. Floki is probably my favorite character, but Ragnar Lodbrok is he's way up there too. I really like him. So I was very pleased with the show, to be honest. Even the monk I like. I'd like to know who your favorite character is, what you think about the show, if you watch Vikings. If you haven't, let's go through the criteria. It has it's on History Channel. It's more like closed door sex. Like, sex is going on. It is definitely put out. It's talked about, there's guys bringing other guys in the bed to have sex with their wives. I have never heard that being something that was Norse culture, but that comes up many times in the show. So maybe that's a thing. I don't know. But I don't think that's going to be in a modern age, like any kind of issue for almost anyone. My father hasn't watched the show. I like to bring that up. My father's 80, and I think it could be kind of interesting getting a completely different perspective. So I often, one of his reviews will mention, if he saw it, what he thought as well, to kind of give you more than what my perspective is going to be. There is essentially no profanity. There is violence on the show, a pretty good amount of violence. By basic cable standards, it's probably fairly high in the violence, but overall, I don't know if my son had no real interest. My son's 5.5. He had no real interest in watching the show. I tried to get him to watch it. He just kind of dipped on it after pretty quick. And I tried to watch it again. He goes, I don't like that show. I was like, all right, well, fair enough. So, I don't know if there's really going to be any objection from someone that actually would sit and watch it, but I found it interesting. I found it to have a lot of interesting historical representations, and overall to be a well-acted show. So I like Vikings. I'm looking forward to season 2. I don't know when it's coming out. I don't think any release date has been added, but I think it's a strong show. And I really hope History Channel makes more shows like this. There's so many different I like period piece shows, and there's so many that they could really delve into. And that's really what I would like to see in 5-10 years. That's where I like to see History Channel be, like, is a place that makes shows like Spartacus and like Rome and stuff like that, but maybe with a slightly tamer edge to them, a slightly more acceptable general basic cable edge. And I think that'd be an excellent way, because right now, let's face it, there's Pawn Stars and American Pickers, really history. I certainly know Counting Cars isn't. I don't know what that possibly could have to do with history. And then what else do they? They have like other shows like that are like, come on now, really. But they have this. They have the Bible show. If anyone's watched the Bible, let me know in the comments if you liked it. I know I got really high ratings. I've been toying with the idea of watching it or not. So maybe I will. I've read the Bible more than once, so I don't know how interesting the show is going to be to me. It's like, well, I know what happens here. I know what happens here. I know what happens here. Still, I'd like to hear what someone's opinion is on that. But overall, Vikings I thought was excellent for a show on basic cable. Very strong. Very, very strong. Okay, well, it's certainly no Breaking Bad, and I like Walking Dead better. But other than those two, I'm having trouble thinking of one basic cable I like better than Vikings. I'm definitely looking forward to season 2. It is episodic, of course. You cannot jump into episode 5 and think you'll understand. You won't. But those are my thoughts on Vikings. Let me know who your favorite character is. Let me know what you think about the series in general.